townhall.com.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Politics is not a game for the weak-hearted. Certainly not for those who tend to break the rules, the laws, especially after being elected. Politicians are human, supposedly just like us. Some good, some bad, some just doing the best they can. But politics itself is not just a game. It's a blood sport. There was a time when I was young and naive. I thought I might like to be a politician. In fact, I have a BS degree in politics, but ended up in journalism. I have some politicians that I admire. Some I just don't trust. I have a hard time with politicians, members of Congress who constantly dump on America. Illinois Democrat Congresswoman Ramirez said, "I'm a proud Guatemalan before I'm an American." Then why are you serving? Then you get Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She thinks her title gives her permission to call Trump a piece of stuff. Will Rogers said, "People are taking their comedians seriously, politicians as a joke." He nailed it.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
In all these years that Wellington Environmental has been my sponsor, I've never mentioned their duct cleaning services. Allergy season is here, and Wellington crews clean air ducts daily in homes and commercial buildings, also cleaning air handling units and diffusers in commercial facilities. Why? Well, because people will see black dirt and mold on the vents, or they are actually suffering from allergies. Don't be fooled by low-cost duct cleaning providers saying they charge only per vent, because once they get on site, the price will skyrocket. Wellington does not do this, never has. Wellington will give you an estimate, and you say Larry Connors, and immediately you get a 20% discount. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 314-644-4930. Make your home and business better, safer with Wellington. Be well with Wellington.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences, gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. Of course, we have a big show because it is the 3 Martini Lunch. It's Common Sense Radio. Really super happy to be with you. Well, what a story that isn't covered by any really of the mainstream media. I mean, they covered it as if it's just like kind of like a casual little, oh, look, 3 cars set on fire in Clayton. Police call it arson. There's some anti-Semitic graffiti, but let's move on. Of course, the reason why they're not talking about it is because the people doing this hate crime, this anti-Semitic attack, are Democrats. They're not like stormtrooping Nazis, the ones that they all claim are us. These are left-wing kooks. These are people from Antifa. These are pro-Hamas demonstrators, all of them Democrat. And it's just really too bad. And of course, the backstory on all this, and I'm not going to give you any explicit details about who was targeted here because, of course, we don't want to put them in that situation. But I have it on pretty good authority that this is a prominent family in the Jewish community, and one of the individuals targeted had some dealings with the IDF recently, and apparently caught the attention of the left and the Democrat Hamas supporters who summarily burned the cars. And apparently they have a suspect. Not quite sure about that. But the fact of the matter is, this should be getting more attention than it is getting. This should be something that is highly, highly considered to be deeply, deeply disturbing. Even if you're not Jewish, this should be deeply, deeply disturbing because the next time somebody's going to get killed. And that is absolutely not acceptable. I'm so glad to have a friend of mine and he's the son of a Holocaust survivor, and he is also a state representative, Dr. George Haruza, who just minutes ago, this thing is still wet, hot off the presses, this condemnation of this anti-Semitic arson attack. And I'm so glad to see somebody of prominence in the political community and beyond is standing up and talking about this and calling it for what it is. Dr. Haruza, State Representative Haruza, welcome to the program. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
So,
glad to be here.
Yeah. So this enough is enough here. You're calling this out.
It's just disgusting. I mean, you can't, the fact that in St. Louis we have this kind of stuff going on. It is, I thought of it. Well, Columbia, they got demonstrations there, and people say, okay, well, that's out there on the East Coast. They're crazy out there anyway. And then, but then we've got it keeps escalating. It is, it starts out as this anti-Semitic rhetoric and just disgusting stuff to begin with, and then it just keeps moving up and just keeps ratcheting up. And then we've got, some swastikas painted somewhere. Okay, that's already bad enough. Then you go into burning cars. Next, it's going to be they're going to have people in the cars that they're going to burn. It is just. I can tell you that in the Jewish community, it is very scary. It's people. You mentioned I was a Holocaust survivor, and my mother was a Holocaust survivor. Sorry, not me.
Yeah.
But is that she lived through that in the 1930s. That's kind of how it started. It starts out with just this, about Jews being bad and doing terrible things, and they're just, terrible. And then it escalates to damage, and then it escalates to injury, and then it escalates to murder.
Yeah. We're talking
That's what happened now.
Yeah, State Representative George Haruza. And I have to tell you that the seriousness of this cannot be amplified, because this isn't just, I guess in some cases you have anti-Semitic behavior taking place in demonstrations, or somebody ripping down a sign, or somebody tagging a bridge or something with an anti-Semitic symbol or what have you. But this was clearly this was a targeted and premeditated attack. This was designed to be an intimidation crime. They had to, for instance, know where these people lived. They had to look them up, know about their recent activities and things like that. I know this for a fact, so I just don't want to get too explicit in terms of who it is. But so this was a plot, and so this is highly dangerous.
Absolutely. I mean, this is yes, and I think you mentioned it. So this the gentleman had served in the IDF, volunteered in the IDF, and he was back home to his normal life, and it is unacceptable for something like this to happen. So I'm glad that I did see that they have someone in custody that they're trying to, whether that's the person or not, we don't know, but it is just, it just it bothers me to no end. This is, as you said, it's not a random thing. It's not someone just seeing someone maybe even having some symbol of them being Jewish, and even that's absolutely disgusting. But this was pre-planned. This was planned very carefully. The only cars that were burned were the cars that belonged to that individual's family, and then of course they had the graffiti on the road, laying it all out, including, I believe, the name of the individual, which of course the TV the station properly blurred out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I am disgusted. I mean, because I am I try to work on the legislation to try to tamp down on some of this stuff, at least in schools this last year, and we didn't quite make it, but we'll be certainly trying to again this year to keep Jewish students safe in schools. Even though after something like this, I keep wanting to see what we can do to legislatively try to address some of this.
Yeah, well, and this is a family that isn't particularly political. So this had nothing to do with politics and everything to do with the fact that they're Jewish. And that is terrible. And it got to the point where there were some people who were investigating this, and I hope the FBI is, that's for sure, getting involved here on the federal level, because there were some people who were related to them and even people with the same last names and everything else that were being contacted by the authorities, letting them know that they were in possible danger. And this is the United States of America. This is the state of Missouri, and this is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form.
It should never happen here. I've lived here for I've been here since 35 years, and this is the kind of stuff that would happen where I grew up in Eastern Europe, but never did happen here until after October 7th, and it's just been escalating, and so it's really putting our Jewish community. There's very. I mean, I've gotten so many calls from people being very concerned. About their safety and about are they really safe in this country, which has been a haven for Jews.
Well, and Dr. George Haruza, state representative, I know that there are some people who will have this commentary about the free speech element, and they're always worried about legislation that would target these kinds of crimes. But this is not about free speech, and you are perfectly willing to bring up the idea of some form of legislation in the state of Missouri that would address this problem and address this crime.
My bill for the schools is all about anti-Semitic behavior. The anti-Semitic behaviors when you're going directly after an individual and attacking them verbally, physically, vandalism. That's what we're trying to rein in. For people going out on the streets and spouting anti-Semitic slogans and so forth, that is not at all something we're trying to address, because that is free speech. And even though I may find it abhorrent, but if people want to shout out from the river to the sea, out on, when they're demonstrating down the street, that's totally fine. And that is not something, I mean, that's not fine for me, but it's totally legal, and they certainly can do that. It's when they start The example I use usually is if to a student, if an individual comes to a student, it says, "Oh, are you Jewish?" Yes. "Oh, well, then you cannot pass here. Jews are not allowed here." That is behavior that we're trying to rein in, because that is the start of the basically dehumanizing individuals, and then ultimately make it okay to be doing the more and more higher level kind of thing.
Yeah, just unbelievable. It just is horrible to think. I mean, I'm telling you, I having not had a crime committed against me in that fashion, I can't imagine how these individuals feel with this kind of violent attack. We can only pray that they are safe and that and they catch these individuals, because I just can't imagine living in that particular environment, and they can't even be home now, and it just is just as terrible. So thank you.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Sure. You're welcome.
Well, thank you, Dr. Hruza, for addressing that. I appreciate you so much, and we'll just keep in touch on this. Let us know how, if there is any legislation that comes out, how things progress on this. And I appreciate you calling this out and being one of the first ones in the political circles to really just say, hey, enough is enough. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
All right. That is Dr. George Hruza, state representative. You know what's interesting, too, though? Where's Rabbi Talvi? The one who decided to get a bunch of people together and stand on the steps of City Hall to defend invisible crimes against Asians after COVID was linked to China. Remember that? Yeah. Where are all those individuals? Well, unfortunately, they support a party that supports the Hamas supporters, and they support. They're a party that supports individuals who commit hate crimes every single day against Jews. So where's Rabbi Talvi? Nowhere to be found. Neither are some of the other prominent Democrats in the Jewish community, because this is their party. This is the party they support committing these crimes, because of the fact that they haven't stood up to the anti-Semitic behavior of the members of their party and their voters. So you won't see too many prominent Democrats talking a lot about this crime, will you? Because they're the ones. This is the apple not falling far from the tree, and they know it. They just don't want other people to know it. The people who committed this act, these anti-Semitic crimes against this family in Clayton, and by the way, this family, not even particularly political, as I said, I know who they are. These individuals are not the Nazis that people keep calling people who support Donald Trump. They're Democrats. They're Democrats, and they are pooped out of the rear of a party that encourages violence and hate and will project that onto everybody else but itself. So good job, Democrats. Your propaganda is starting to come home to roost, even from people who might even support you. I had my first St. Louis City soccer fan say they are no longer a City soccer fan. Also, Becky Noble going to be joining us just a few minutes. And this is a very important anniversary, my friends. I'll tell you all about that. This is Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL, the 3 Martini Lunch.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Window World time. Simply the best for less, the official window of the St. Louis Blues, a real sports team in St. Louis. And I got to tell you, Window World is your place, not only for the best windows for less, but also the strongest, more thermally superior windows, that you will ever find in the land. You don't have to take it from me. Qualified Remodeler Magazine is like, whoa, they sell more windows than anybody in the United States of America. Goodness gracious. And the Good Housekeeping people, I always feel like the Good Housekeeping people are wearing aprons. I don't know why, but as far as, or carrying a broom or something, as far as I'm concerned, the Good Housekeeping seal of approval is an absolute gem, and they handed that to Window World, simply the best for less. These are the strongest windows you're going to find in the land. They are thermally superior to all of the rest. They have a lifetime warranty that covers not only the glass breakage and everything else, but all the parts and all the labor associated with Window World windows. You can have a free demonstration at your house. You'll love these things. They look great from not only the inside of your house, also from the outside of your house. And you're going to love the curb appeal that these windows give your home as well. Simply the best for less. Window World, 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800.
Is your backyard a battleground every evening? Swatting, itching, kids running back inside? Hey, Tim Jones here. I just found out about a new local company, Mosquito Nix, that can take care of all that and more. They offer permanent automatic mosquito and tick protection, not just fogging, real coverage you don't have to think about. They've helped over 40,000 families nationwide take back their yards with their automatic mosquito control system. Now they're offering a free fogging treatment to introduce themselves to St. Louis families. Call 636-698-1980 now or visit mosquitonix.com. Say goodbye to bug bites this summer. Service area restrictions do apply. Tell them Tim Jones sent you. Ask about their back-to-school special. St. Louis summers don't last forever, but mosquito bites shouldn't either. Call 636-698-1980. Visit mosquitonix.com. That's mosquitonix.com. This is a limited time offer.
This is Larry Connors, and my favorite sandwich at Capriati's is a Philly cheesesteak with peppers, sweet peppers, but sometimes hot peppers. I love Capriati's, and so will you.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
News, analysis, opinion.
Part of this was a Hillary Clinton plan, but part of it was an FBI plan to be an accelerant.
Essentially, a years-long coup that was launched against President Trump.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, on this day, 50 years ago, the first all-female rock band released 4 studio albums, toured with Van Halen, Talking Heads, Cheap Trick. Joan Jett and drummer Sandy West formed the Runaways. And their first big hit, Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb. There you go. A little memory lane for you people. Joan Jett, otherwise known as Joan Marie Larkin. Right there from the small town of Wynwood, Pennsylvania. Went to L.A., chased her dream, and boom, the Runaways. First all-female rock band. In the United States, at least. I think there were some others around there anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, guess who it is? My old friend Becky Noble. I have not talked to Becky Noble in a long time. And it's not that I forgot about you. It just was like things just got busy for the last time we had you on. How you doing, dear?
I'm good. How are you? Life has a habit of lifing.
I know it's true. And you're always a valuable asset to my show when I have you on. And I know you're doing the Red State thing still. You're still doing your podcast and your Substack, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Doing it all.
Good. What's your latest on Red State?
Well, I'm working on one that'll go up to later on today about how AOC's constituents are kind of getting fed up with her, being a magnet to any camera that is national,
Yeah.
and having plenty of time to do that. Meanwhile, her district is turning into a nightmare of crime, prostitution and drugs and gangs and illegals and the whole nine yards. And her constituents would kind of like her to maybe like come home for 5 minutes or so, fit that into her busy schedule, and maybe kind of see what's going on in her own backyard.
So, Becky, I was hearing, and somebody mentioned this, I can't remember who, but they were talking about how, Chuck Schumer and all of his antics over these recess appointments and things like that. Oh, maybe it was Mark Wayne Mullen. He indicated that within political circles, there is some prognostication that AOC, if she ran against Chuck Schumer, would possibly beat him. Is that in any way realistic?
I've seen a lot of that too. And I could almost, if you think as weird as it is, think like a Democrat for a minute and think, okay, maybe they are seeing, even though you have, the Chuck Schumers and the Nancy Pelosi's and all those people who are hanging on to power for dear life with their bony fingers, maybe there's a few people, that are seeing that maybe, they need to force those people out and bring in the next generation who would be AOC and people like that. And I've heard a lot of that. I've heard that if she runs for his Senate seat, that she could very well trounce him. And I think he's scared to death of it. That's why he's not going anywhere near her buddy Mamdani, who's running for mayor. And I think both he and Hakeem Jeffries are scared to death of AOC and that crowd. But could happen.
That Mamdani thing is deeply disturbing. There's more tape coming out. I really haven't addressed it because you can barely understand these people unless you just really plugged into the tape. Plus, they're all wearing masks. I'm thinking, is this from during the days of COVID? No, it was like a week ago. And these guys are all sitting there wearing masks and talking about aborting babies in churches and all this kind of stuff. And these are his people. I mean, this is like, these are his supporters here. And, I've always been looking for this idea that maybe the whole Mamdani evil thing is a little overblown. I mean, they tried to make Obama out to be this way and all this kind of stuff, called him a socialist and all this kind of stuff, even though I think that he kind of was. But nonetheless, I always took a step back thinking, all right, is this real? Is this overblown? Now suddenly all this tape is coming out of the people who basically have been running Mamdani's campaign. And these people are pretty crazy.
Yeah. First of all, they're out there. They're putting out there exactly who they are and what they want to do. I mean, there's no question about them. I mean, this Mamdani guy is a full-blown commie. And I saw that too. I saw the people, sitting there with all the masks on. And my first thought was, these are the same people who probably drive around alone in their car wearing masks too, But, if you are completely confident in your own beliefs and the fact that your own ideas, these crazy left-wing ideas are going to work, why do you have to hide your face? Do you have a reason? I mean, COVID has been over for years now, so why the masks? But it would be kind of interesting actually to hear the answer as to why they're wearing the masks. But
do I wish though in this race that this COVID murderer Cuomo would just simply drop out of the race, because if Adams has any chance at all, he would have a better chance if he didn't have to deal with Cuomo, who's going to split that sane vote. Unfortunately, with a lot of New Yorkers, that Cuomo, if he really had the best interest of New York at heart after getting his butt so roundly kicked, he would get out of this race and let Adams have at it.
Yeah. Oh, I think so too. And I also wonder, and maybe this is me not ever having lived in New York, so I don't really know what's going on, but is there a chance, is there the slightest possibility that Democrat vote could be split between Mamdani and Adams and Cuomo to the point where it would elevate Curtis Sliwa. I mean, in New York, it's a long shot, but
yeah. Good old Curtis Sliwa.
Could it happen? I mean, but yeah, to your point, Cuomo needs to drop out. He needs to drop out and support Eric Adams. If New York has any chance of survival without Curtis Sliwa, they've got to get behind Eric Adams.
Well, and if I'm the Democrat Party, I'm hoping that there's some degree of normal Democrat who is going to become mayor, because this is only going to make matters worse for the Democrat Party that has no real economic policy. They have gotten us into and continued on with war after war, never settling any kind of peace deals, never brokering trade deals that pay off for the United States of America. And they're still all bitching about the Epstein files that their senile president didn't release. So, I mean, they have nothing.
Right. And I don't know if you saw it, there was a clip yesterday of Elizabeth Warren endorsing Mamdani, and somebody asked her, and I'm paraphrasing, basically, are all the ideas that he's espousing, should that be what Democrats are for? Is that what Democrats should be getting behind? And she was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And so, Rush Limbaugh used to say all the time, get out of the way and let them do all of the crazy stuff that they're doing. And I keep coming back to that phrase. I mean, we talk so much about all the crazy stuff that they're doing, but yeah, that's my feeling about it. Just get out of the way and let them, because it's going to be that much better for us.
Yeah, and it's not surprising that white liberal like Elizabeth Warren would be supporting a minority plush toy the way she does, because that's what white liberals do. You're not going to see them really in any area of prominence in the party. I mean, you know what Nancy Pelosi did with the squad, and I know Hakeem Jeffries is the minority has a prominent position at the legislative level, but still, for the most part, they like to keep all the minority Democrats kind of on this little plantation of theirs, kind of the ones who I guess clean their hotel rooms and things like that, but they don't really elevate them to any kind of stature in the party.
Oh, no. Yeah. And that's another reason I think why, the Chuck Schumers and the Nancy Pelosi's and all those people who have been around for 150 years, that's another reason why they're not going to let go of power, because there are minority people coming up behind them, like AOC and like Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. I've heard his name talked about. He's a young guy. He's an up and comer in the party. But yeah, you're right. They want to keep them. They want to keep them in their little box and trot them out when they need them. And
yeah.
And they have yet to figure that out.
There's some guy on the Facebook feed. He's still talking about the Proud Boys. It's like, yeah, you knock yourself out. Why are they wearing masks? Well, because most of them are FBI agents, dude. You get a brain cell in your head at all. Or remember, what was it? What's the other one called? The Patriot Front or something?
Yeah.
The more I think about it, too, that whole Charlottesville thing, the guys wearing the khaki pants and the polo shirts and carrying the torches that they just pulled from Home Depot. Those guys, there's no way those were real people. Those guys were absolutely deep state plants. It just was so long ago before we even knew there was anything such a thing as that. And man, I'm more convinced than ever that those were the plants there. So no doubt about it. All right.
I think so too.
So what are you doing on Substack this week? Are you still doing just kind of a Thursday rollout on Substack? Is that how that goes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I put out the Substack on Thursday and the podcast on Friday. And I'm kind of talking about something that, at first it was, I thought it was kind of a St. Louis / Missouri urban legend, but turns out that it's actually kind of true. And I think it's something that Republicans definitely need to be aware of. I can't imagine that there are a lot of people that are aware of this, but I'm going to lay it all out. So if you go to gumshoepolitics.substack.com on Thursday afternoon, it'll be there.
So can you give me like a tiny bit of information about what the urban legend might be?
It does have something since redistricting is in the news right now. have a little bit to do with that, but it's some redistricting that took place in Missouri and particularly in St. Louis quite a long time ago.
Oh, good.
And yeah,
does it involve a ghost or anything?
Well, no, not exactly, but it's something that's still around today, and I think it needs to be people need to take a look at it and see if it actually really does still need to be around.
Oh yeah, well that's good. I can't wait to see it. And Becky Noble, thank you so much for your time today. And it's always a pleasure to have you on and hear your insights.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
All righty, Cherry Bomb people, the 50th anniversary of the creation of the first all-girl rock band. On this day in 1975, people. Joan Jett. I think she went on to play with the. I think she went on with the Blackhearts and everything else, and kind of kept to herself, I guess, too, a little bit. So, a little cutie pie 50 years ago. All right, I've heard from my first St. Louis SC soccer fan who is no longer. Talk about that in just a few. It's Common Sense Radio.
News, analysis.
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Well, wow. So cool. The other day, it was last week. And so this time I had Patriot HVAC and call PatriotHVACSTL.com. Craig and Sean and the family run operation. I almost had them come out, but about a month ago I had them come out because my second floor air conditioning was out, and they came, discovered what was going on right off the bat. Didn't take them long, and had the part that I needed right in the truck already. So that was really super convenient, and everything was chill within an hour after they left. Well, this time the downstairs one seemed to be going on the blink for some reason, and my pipes had ice on them. It's 98 degrees. And I couldn't figure it out, and got the ice off, did all that kind of stuff, and turned it off for a little while. And then they were going to come out that very day to look at it. Well, everything kind of corrected itself, although I still needed them to come out to check it out just to make sure. But they were ready to come out that very day. And it's not just because it's me. They will come out, especially when the weather's the way it is and your air conditioning is out. They're not going to make you wait. Oh, we're 6 days out. Sorry. It's like, that's not going to happen with my friends at Patriot HVAC. Call Patriot HVAC. STL.com is the website. Craig, Sean, and the rest of the team ready to help you. They will get a problem solved, lickety-splickety. They are sleuths, and they'll take care of it. Sometimes they can just recognize it the minute they walk in the door. That's what the kind of pros that the guys at Patriot HVAC STL are. So call Patriot HVAC STL.com. Call Patriot HVAC STL.com.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet, I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer. Let's party!
Wait, oh, what's that sound? Oh no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Well, let's put it this way. If you're hungry right now and you're still trying to figure out what to have for lunch, you've finished off that first martini on the 3-martini lunch, and you're ready to rock and roll and figure out where the Gulf Shores Restaurant and Grill food truck might be. All you have to do is go to gulfshoresrestaurantandgrill.com and find out if the food truck is indeed out and about. And, you know, Harry Parker, the owner of Gulf Shores, he's the guy in the truck. He and his wife, they do a great job, and they bring all this loveliness of the Nolans cuisine right to your doorstep, wherever your doorstep happens to be. Sometimes they're hired out by some office complex or whatever, and you can find it there. Or you could even use the food truck at one of your great big events and hire it out as well. Meanwhile, if it's just something you want to go and sit down in the coolness of the restaurant, well, they have 3 options for you: Creve Coeur, St. Peter's, as well as Edwardsville. The menu is great. It's expansive. Harry cuts his own fish. They make their own sauces, their own spices, everything else. I really do love the fish tacos, the mahi mahi tacos and beyond. They're so great. They're gigantic, by the way. And so you go to lunch and you get 2 of them on your plate there. You usually take one home, but what you're going to do is you're going to just take it home because you don't want to feel like you're a pig because you're on kind of a date or something. And then or with your boss, whatever, you're going to get in your car and you're going to eat it then. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You're not fooling anybody because they're just so delicious. So check it out. Great appetizers, great drink specials during happy hour. The Hurricane is a beast. Check it out. Gulf Shores Restaurant and Grill.com. That's Gulf Shores Restaurant and Grill.com.
Columbo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we keep you informed and up to speed on all the important news and headlines you need to know.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, super happy with you. Ashlyn over there, and up on the TV getting a quick little update on what's happening at Fort Stewart there in Georgia. So we do have an arrest. There are 5 shot. The severity of the injuries are not known. We'll continue to pray for the survival of these individuals who have been shot. And they have 1 person in custody. There isn't really a motive. I think it's the home of the Fort Stewart. I think it's the home of the 1st or 3rd Infantry Division. I can't remember which one it is. But nonetheless, it's a very, very important place, and this happens. You know, one thing I was going to bring up, I hadn't brought up before. So there was a shooting. The news media always does this, and I don't know why. There was a shooting at a bar like in Montana or something recently. A guy walked in and killed like 4 people or 3 people in this bar. He lived right next to it. And for some reason, they made a big deal out of the fact that he's a veteran. An Army veteran or whatever. And they tend to, the news media tends to do that if there's a civilian crime committed by a veteran. They make a big deal out of the fact that he's a veteran. Like I don't really understand that unless it's tied to being a veteran, but just simply saying he's a veteran. And it's just like, what does that mean? What's that supposed to mean? And I think it's just because of the media's ignorance of who our heroes are and who our veterans are. And they act as if everyone is like a potential murderer or something. But It's not relevant that he's a veteran, unless, of course, you consider it relevant. And if that's the case, then you mention why it's relevant, that you're mentioning it. So, it just doesn't make any sense, and I don't understand it. All right. So I had my first person in St. Louis today say that she is no longer going to be attending St. Louis SC soccer games. I'm like, wow, what made you attend even one? How much did it cost you to get tickets, go to a stadium, spend money on food and drinks or whatever, and they tie 1-1 and you leave? What kind of sport is that? And not to mention the fact that St. Louis SC is such a bad soccer team. I think they're like 200 MLS teams, and they're like 199th in the Western Division. They're like the second to last place in a sport that allows points for ties. That's how bad they are. Like even in a sport where sometimes everybody gets a trophy, they don't have one. Like, it's so easy to get points in soccer because they allow ties in soccer, and yet they can't even tie a game. And so anyway, we all know what happened with this. I'm sorry. I don't know what I must have some kind of mental block on soccer for some reason. I'm sure I'm offending all these people. But anyway, the situation with this is, you remember the guy kicked out because he was wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and he's a season ticket holder and everything else. And, it's not a good look for the only team, the first team in the MLS to be entirely owned by women. The Taylor family and the Worldwide Technology family are the ones who own this. And by the way, it's not a really good blowback on Enterprise, nor Worldwide Technology, although very few of us actually, buy Worldwide Technology things, although we do go to the Raceway and things like that. But this person who we're talking to, who's a woman, who said, I'm never going to another St. Louis SC soccer game. And part of it is also because nobody had the guts to actually respond to it, say anything at all. Because, of course, they had the clawing media, sports media, not even reporting on the story in any way, shape, or form. So, and got very little coverage. I think it made Fox News at some point, but that's about it. So why would you say anything when you can just simply skate and not have anybody really truly report on it? So that was insulting to this person who actually thought about attending these games. It's like, yeah, I'd go see it. But then you have, this woke, and I don't think it's necessarily linked to the fact that it's entirely owned by women. I honestly don't, but I just think it's sad when you insult your audience to the point where really, I guess all you care about is just simply stocking the stadium with residents of the Grove, because that's where you're going to end up being, not only because you lose too much and you're a bad team, but you've also offended half of your audience. So it doesn't make any sense, and you wish better for these individuals. But I mean, I'm not, it's not my job to keep you in business. And what's interesting too is that this woman also said that she's going to be renting cars from Hertz from now on, not Enterprise. And believe me, it might not be reported in the mainstream media very much, but I guarantee you all know how conservatives are. We have connections. We talk on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and everything else. We talk around the news media. We're not waiting for the news media to tell us what stories to talk about. This is already being talked about. So This is already being talked about. So if you guys think, who you own St. Louis SC, if you guys think that you're just going to just simply go about your business without anybody knowing what you did, you're wrong. And it's really not a good look for you. And already people are starting to talk about it. I do think, let's put it this way. I don't know if my kid were really, really into soccer, whatever, and if my kid really, really loved soccer, and it was the kind of thing that my kid really wanted to go to and everything else, I would probably still go, even if they did do that, because I don't want to take something away from my kid that is political in nature. I've done that before. Like for instance, I knew what John Cougar Mellencamp's political proclivities were back when I took Ethan to his concert that day before Natalie was born. Remember I told you that story? I knew what his political proclivities were, but Ethan wanted to see him. So I'm not going to sit there and say, no, I'm not going to take my 15-year-old son to see Mellencamp because he's a liberal. That's like, that to me is a little bit of a stretch. And I know there are some people, though, who absolutely would stop taking their kids to the thing because they don't want to participate in St. Louis SC's disdain of Trump supporters. So I get that. I probably wouldn't do it. So at least St. Louis SC has that going for them. But there are a lot of people out there who won't deny their children the joy of going to a game or doing whatever because of some political dispute or what have you. So so maybe St. Louis SC will be able to kind of overcome it based on the fact that there are a lot of people who really love the soccer and their kids do too. And St. Louis is a soccer town. I get it. And so, that's going to be maybe their saving grace. So between the residents of the Grove and the parents who don't want to, ruin something for their kids, those are the people who are going to still go to the soccer games and watch St. Louis SC tie the game 1-1 and wind up in next to last place. So knock yourself out. Well, Rick Pogue is on the way, and it turns out that there might be evidence that Epstein was actually a deep state asset. I've talked about that before, and I've always kind of figured that there's some reason why people were not releasing some things and keeping some things held back or whatever. But now it looks like there's something really super on paper about his role as a FBI asset. Rick Pogue is on the way also. It's Common Sense Radio.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best in each of us, made better by the best in all of us. Whatever success looks like to you, Stifel is invested in yours. That's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. So whether you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck. knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fence Works, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit stlfenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. The Army Fort Stewart in Georgia says 5 soldiers were shot and the base was locked down before that shooter was arrested. There is now no threat to the community. There is no word on the condition of those who were shot. President Trump's special envoy has held talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. That's just days before a White House deadline for Russia to reach a peace deal with Ukraine. Correspondent Donna Warder has the update in this report.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has held talks Wednesday with President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff right before a Friday White House deadline for Russia to reach a peace deal with Ukraine or potentially face economic penalties that could also hit countries buying Russia's oil. Earlier, Russian TV showed Witkoff taking a stroll in a park near the Kremlin with Kirill Dmitriev, Putin's envoy for investment and economic cooperation. But the Kremlin did not immediately provide more details on Putin's meeting with Witkoff. Trump is threatening severe tariffs and other economic penalties if the killing doesn't stop. I'm Donna Warder.
And President Trump is punishing India for its purchases of Russian oil. White House correspondent Greg Clugston has details.
The president signed an executive order placing an additional 25% tariff, bringing the combined tariffs imposed by the U.S. on India to 50%. The tariffs are set to go into effect in 21 days, which means both India and Russia might have time to negotiate with the administration on the import taxes. The Trump administration has accused India of effectively financing Russia's war in Ukraine with its oil purchases. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The Dow had 128 points and the NASDAQ composite up 213. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 meteorologist Leah Hill. Hotter temperatures with a high near 90 degrees today. This is just typical summer heat and humidity, with the heat index peaking at 93 degrees. Mostly sunny skies can be expected and light winds. Overnight, our temperatures fall to 72, and then do keep an eye on some rain or storm chances throughout the day on Thursday. Could see some of that in the morning, and there's also a chance in the afternoon and evening. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Attention all gun enthusiasts. Don't miss the big DeSoto Gun Show, August 10th and 11th at the Knights of Columbus Hall in DeSoto, Missouri. Over 450 tables of pistols, handguns, rifles, long guns, shotguns, ammo, and more. The fun starts Saturday, August 10th at 9 a.m. and continues all weekend. Admission just $10 and good for the entire weekend. 12 and under, get in free with discounts for veterans and first responders. The big DeSoto Gun Show at the DeSoto, Missouri Knights of Columbus all the weekend of August 10th. More info at bkpromotions.us.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One.
Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
The Walner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. Oh, I am so proud to be part of the team. I love them so much. I joined the team, right? So got my real estate license and I've known Rodney and Jen for a long, long time. And now I'm part of a team that is the number one home selling team. And of course, the buying agent team at Berkshire Hathaway. And it is great. We're really good at what we do. And I got to tell you, 314-810-SOLD is the number. 314-810-SOLD is that phone number. And you, ladies and gentlemen, can make sure that if you're needing a home, shopping for a home, doing whatever, we're going to make it really work for you. We're going to get you the best deal on it. We're great negotiators, and we have a lockdown plan. We're all informed. You're all informed about the house that you're buying, everything else, and we follow it from start to finish and even to afterwards. And we're also, ladies and gentlemen, going to put your home up for sale if you want it for sale. So sometimes people are looking for a home, but then they still need to sell their home. Well, sometimes it benefits you to already have the buttons being pushed to sell your home, because a lot of times when you're buying a home and you have a contingency to sell your home, it puts you at a disadvantage. So getting started earlier, getting that going so you can start shopping for homes, knowing you're going to be able to sell your home right away, that's the way to do it. And we can do that for you. Lowest commission you're going to find anywhere in the land as listing agents. And we're really super good. We create a real great feeding frenzy over your home. We know how to do that. It's the Walner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com.
On this, the 50th anniversary of the debut of the first all-girl rock band, the Runaways, 50 years ago, we celebrate some other all-girl rock bands that clearly are taking a little piece of the Runaway legend. Julie Matthews sent me this song from the Donnas called Take It Off. Yeah, pretty cool. Hell yeah, they're all ladies. Take It Off. I think it's like from 15 years ago, so it's not like it was 50 years ago, but they still have, obviously, I bet you Joan Jett was a big influence on these ladies, and maybe even a big influence on this man, ladies and gentlemen.
Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. A mighty sucker punch.
I guess I really was kind of just riffing on that, Rick Pogue. I for some reason I can't imagine you saying, "Oh yeah, Joan Jett was a big influence on me." That doesn't fit necessarily, but maybe she was. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you, Joan Jett, I was 83, so I was about 13 years old. I remember when, MTV came out in 1981, remember?
Yeah.
And I Love Rock and Roll was one of the original videos they played. And so I actually really liked Joan Jett back then, yeah.
Good, okay, good. I figured she was.
I'll confess. You know, we talk about all girl bands, right?
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm not familiar with the Runaways, but the Go-Go's were huge back then. And I'm not going to admit, publicly that I was a fan, but I liked a couple of their songs.
I think one of the members of the Runaways went on to be part of the Bangles eventually, too. So they all kind of branched out on their own after doing their Runaway thing. So I think, and the Bangles is all girls, I'm pretty sure. So,
well, speaking of music, Heather and I'm home today. Heather and I went to the Toto concert last night. It was Toto, Men at Work, and Christopher Cross, and it was amazing.
Wow!
We're nursing our wounds today at home.
So Colin Hayes, was he there?
Now
The Men at Work guy, or no?
Yes, as a matter of fact, he's the only one left, I think. So his band Men at Work now, it's made up of basically, what was it, hon? Like three Cuban musicians, and one of them was a Cuban gal that he married. He had his wife on stage.
Oh yeah,
she wasn't very talented, but she got to play with the cymbals and stuff, the tambourine. But he sounded fantastic. He really did. They sounded great. I was really impressed with it.
I love his solo stuff. Did he sing Any Minute Now? Any Minute Now, my ship is coming in. I'm surprised he didn't sing that. Huh. Oh, well, I don't know. And then,
of course, go ahead.
Toto.
Oh, yeah. Total rock. Now, of course, they were the headliner. They were last. And, man, they sounded phenomenal. Of course, they saved the song Africa for dead last. It's kind of like everybody goes to a concert and they yell Freebird. Everybody's yelling Africa.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
They were phenomenal. It was a great concert. All in all. Christopher Cross, 76 years old. He looks like he's maybe 50.
Oh, love that, man.
It was cool.
Yeah, I Christopher Cross, I remember, because when I was in high school, Sailing came out. And I had this really vivid memory because I was down in Corpus Christi with my dad, and my girlfriend from high school came down to meet me down there in Texas. And that was kind of the song of the summer. And it was so crazy because Christopher Cross was kind of like this unlikely musician because he's a big dude, or was a big dude. And just was kind of everybody thought, well, maybe this is just going to be the one hit wonder or whatever. But man, no, it was, I'm glad he's doing great, man. That's fantastic. Where was this?
Yeah. And Sailing's probably our favorite Christopher Cross song, but the movie Arthur is probably my favorite movie of all time. And Arthur's theme is really what introduced me to him back then.
Oh yeah, that's right, man. That's great, dude. Well, where was this?
It was at Hollywood. The old Riverport.
Nice.
Hollywood Amphitheater.
Nice.
We had a nice private box right in the middle. It was fun.
That's good, man. I love it. I'm glad those guys are still running around. It gives you new faith in humanity. You know what I mean? A little bit.
It really did. It really did. It was an absolute blessing. We had a blast.
Oh, that's great, dude. That's great. So I was seeing here, and I'm not really necessarily as concerned about this as some people are claiming, regarding Epstein. But the reality is, I'm really not bent out of shape about it because here's what I know. I know that President Trump isn't on the list and isn't hiding anybody. I know Pam Bondi isn't hiding anybody. I know Pam Bondi should not resign. I know this isn't a big deal. Everybody wants transparency. All that's fine. Democrats talking about it, it always makes them sound like idiots because the person who also had the Epstein files was a guy by the name of Joe Biden, but he was too senile, or he was also crafty to cover up for the Clintons to release the files themselves. So I'm not quite sure why they're all calling for the release of the files now when they didn't during the Biden administration.
Yeah, I don't know either, and I'm kind of in your camp, Jamie. I'm not that worried about it. My honestly, being transparent, my concern was I hope Trump never went over there. Well, like in Trump style, he comes out and goes, "I never went over there." I said no. So and historically, it's taught us if you ever doubt what Trump says, you're usually wrong because he's usually dead on. So when he came out and said he was never over there, that made me feel better. But I'm not that concerned about it either. And people like our good friend Eric Burleson are really pushing for this list and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not too concerned about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, it's but man, the crusading that's being done by people on this thing is really outsized. It's really doesn't make any sense to me unless people are trying to kind of, as I said before, kind of like establish how great and independent and amazing they are, and not sucking up the Donald Trump, all that kind of nonsense. But to me, I'm thinking of all these things that he's doing, especially the fact that, as I called this yesterday, the Make America Great Again TV network's rollout of the new fall schedule, which will feature about 25 detestable Democrats taking the oath and sitting under the hot lights to answer questions about their lies and their attempted coup on Donald Trump.
No, that's a great way to put it. I am ready. I'm ready. I'm not gonna die on the Epstein hill. Put it that way. I'm ready to die on the Russia collusion hill, because it is time for these people to pay. It is time for these people to answer for their lies that literally consumed the first 2 years of his first presidency. And it took those 2 years for sure away from us, but it survives. It survives for some people to this day. And people like pencil neck Adam Schiff come out saying, remember, how many times did he say we have irrefutable evidence that there's collusion? Wait till this comes out. How many times did he tell that to us?
Yep.
You got Hillary Clinton going on the Talking Chickens show, talking about, well, there's no denying there's Russian interference.
Yeah.
It's time for these people to answer.
Oh yeah, I mean, no question about it. And you know what? Here's the thing. I said this yesterday, and I'm absolutely, I have zero embarrassment about this, and I just don't care. I don't care whether the statute of limitations is run out. I don't care whether this is considered to be lawfare. I don't care whether this is considered to be revenge. I don't care. I just want to see these people sweat. I want to see them humiliated. I want President Trump to be the hunter instead of the hunted, and that's what I want to see. I'm into this for the sport of it, and I'm not ashamed to say.
I agree with you 100%. And in the grand scheme of things, Jamie, we cannot allow elected officials to literally tell bold-faced lies to the American people without paying for it, without having to answer for it. They can come out and they can lie about anything they want, and they're allowed to, and there's no repercussions. There's no punishment for that. And that we cannot allow that to go on.
Yeah, and they'll invent the crimes involving President Trump. But when real crimes happen among Democrats, they just cover it up. You saw what happened with Crumb-Mouth Sam Page. All the liberals in the media were saying, well, this is a very rarely used law. I mean, like it's unbelievable. And then to see Adam Schiff going to jail, hopefully, over mortgage fraud. I mean, I'm so looking forward to the fall, except for the weather. I like the 95 degrees, everything else. I hate leaves and sweaters. But anyway, I'm still looking forward to fall.
Oh, I am too, my friend. And one of the things that really, pisses me off, pardon my French, is when people just accept this and they just accept it. Oh, we don't want to do to them what they did to us. Let's move on.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we
need
do.
And we need to do it for the American people.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I understand people, because they're trying to play this, we're mature people game. And they're saying, we just don't, two wrongs don't make a right. We don't want to do what they do. It's like, nah, yeah, we do. Yeah, yeah we do.
Yes, we do. I'm with you. I want to see Adam Schiff scared to death. Even if we can't, make him pay. I want to see him suffer and sweat and worry. I want to see Hillary suffer and sweat and worry. These people are evil people. And that can't be, overstated. They did some evil things.
Yeah,
and,
man.
And it was against the American people, and it's against our republic. They have to answer for it in some way. They have to.
Yeah, never. Don't forget how much Hillary Clinton hates you. I mean, really, honestly, do not forget that how much she despises you, and how much James Comey hates you, and how much James Clapper and John Brennan and Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions and Bill Clinton to a certain degree, although he's, I feel sorry for him more than anything else. He's married to her. But nonetheless, all these people who despise you and would rather have you disappear or not even participate in our great republic. And so once you adequately fill yourself up with that realization, all of this stuff, the gratuitousness of it and the hot lights and the sweat will very much come easy for you to just simply enjoy. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you mentioned Comey, Brennan, and Clapper, another scheme. The three blind mice, as Victor Davis Hanson called them. This is perfect. Those guys they're going to take the fall. Obama's complicit. I mean, it was his idea. I'm sure he ordered them to do these things, but nothing's going to happen to Barack Obama. Everybody knows that. Somebody else is going to take the fall. So these guys are probably really nervous, and they should be.
Yeah. I mean, this, they're so lucky this isn't like 1710. I mean, they'd
be hanging they'd be hanging from the gallows.
I know, or at least they'd be tarred and feathered or something,
Yeah.
Or just
treason used to be a big deal, Jamie, and now treason is just a punchline, and it's a shame.
Or dangled over a moat full of alligators,
Yeah.
like in the cartoons.
Pour the hot lead on them, something.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, that's what we need. All right, well, Rick. Oh, by the way, so Arrowhead, that great company of yours. One of the things I was going to ask you about, because Pritzker's on with Colbert, and he lied about this redistricting thing and everything else. But man, you've experienced. Well, you've experienced in some cases the worst of both worlds. So you had some things regulatory, otherwise in Missouri, but Illinois must have been, because I know you had a place over there. That must have been impossible, dude.
It was hell, Jamie, and I'm not being dramatic. Doing business in Illinois is extremely difficult. Okay, so my sister and I still obviously we don't own Arrowhead anymore. We still own property though, and we had 6 locations at one point. We wound up shutting the 6th location down, which was our Illinois location in Fairview Heights. The taxes over there are insane. The red tape and the regulation, the government foot on your neck, it's always there. And it's just, I feel bad for anyone who owns a business in Illinois. I really do. We still own property there. Now we have a Chad Hansen, my partner Chad Hansen. We have a Hansen Raz location over there. And so we're dealing with it as it is, but we're kissing all the butt we can with the regulators and everything, because we have to.
Yeah.
It's not a business friendly state. It's not a residence friendly state. They're out of their mind. They see what California does and they do something worse.
Yeah, man.
It's a shame that Chicago runs that entire state. Springfield doesn't run anything.
Yeah.
Chicago runs the state of Illinois. And this Pritzker guy is an absolute disaster, embarrassment joke. And I feel bad for everyone that's not in Chicago. I feel sorry for them because they can't stop it. I don't know what they can do to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, and if you really want to see the horrors of gerrymandering that all the Democrats are complaining right now, all you have to do is look at the Cook County map. And it looks like an upside down glove, the way they manipulated that whole thing. So they've got these districts that go down like slivers, a part of the district to go down to slivers. That's how Cook County controls most of Illinois, because they managed to inject these, 10-mile long areas, but about, 50 feet wide. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, it's the classic case of it's okay when they do it, but it's evil when we do it. Okay. Am I the only one that remembers when Barack Obama left office? Eric Holder became the head of some organization they created, and his job was to go around to blue states and gerrymander. Remember that?
Yeah.
I forget the organization, but he headed it up, and that's all his job was, to go to the blue states and redistrict everything to their favor. Now we're going, okay, we'll do it too. And oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Yeah. Well, again, it's we just have to do what they do. And I remember people back in the day before the election when Taylor Swift had a concert and they're like, she's liberal, she's registering voters at her concert. I'm going, we ought to be doing that also. I mean, instead of complaining about what others are doing, let's do it. Let's register voters. Let's have our own acorn, for crying out loud, although, an uncorrupt acorn. And let's play the political hardball that they play, because that's the way we're going to do it.
And that's really what terrifies them. What terrifies them is the fact that we're going to start doing what they, on a level playing field, Jamie, Democrats lose every time.
Yeah.
Democrats, they cannot be honest about who they are, and that is their downfall, and they know it.
Yeah.
So on a level playing field, they lose. So they have to tilt everything to their advantage.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes to be dumb but talented, you can still make your way, but only so far. But to be smart and talented, like most conservatives are, you can just run the table. And I think that's how we're going to do it.
Yeah, I love it. I am so excited to see what's going on. Thank God Donald Trump won in November.
I know, man.
Can you imagine where we would be right now
Oh.
with that woman? Oh.
And to a certain degree, oddly enough, it might have been this crazy blessing that he actually lost in 2020, because just the way he came back as, it's like kind of King Kong getting or whatever monster it is in those Japanese movies, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more it gets shot at or whatever, So
yeah, I agree. Well, the 4 years of Joe Biden showed the American people what a horrible decision that was.
Yeah.
And I'll take to my grave that he did not get 81 million votes.
No way.
Legitimately. There's no freaking way.
Well, and so again, they steal an election and they still screw up. So, that's how bad they are at what they do.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to live your whole life not, having to lie about who you really are.
Yeah.
And that's the quandary they're in.
Yeah, right on. All right, brother. Well, listen. You know what? I meant to give this to you. I didn't mean, sorry. There we go. Imagine Rick Pogue and Heather holding each other as they listen to and they wind up on the Jumbotron, but they're actually married.
Yeah, nobody had to duck down.
All right, buddy. Hey, man, love you as always, and thanks for a wonderful Wednesday as always, okay?
Love you, brother. Have a great
Love you
day.
too, man. All right, that is the great Rick Pogue. Man, it's Colin Hay. You want to look up Any Minute Now. It's one of his solo hits. It's a great song. Anyway, this is Common Sense Radio, people.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Very just stopped into the station yesterday, and we decided we were going to, kind of cut a little commercial, whatever. And it's so interesting when I'm with Rob. Some people you're recording things, and then they need a script or whatever. Most of my people just simply are off the cuff and everything else because they know their business, they love their business, and when you're authentic and you're knowledgeable about your stuff, you don't need a script, you don't need to read off anything because you can talk the talk and talk about your business. That's exactly what it was like recording a commercial with Rob Very. STL Bath and Renovation, STLBR.com. It's really super simple. We specialize in you, says Rob. We have all of this man-made cultured stone, natural stone that I can put into your bathroom, and it's low maintenance and grout free. So that means you're not having to clean it every weekend, or you can take that off of your chore list. And plus, it even looks better. I mean, sometimes grout is grout, whatever, but it looks a lot better when you have something like cultured stone. There's just one seamless, beautiful shower area or what have you in your bathroom. They take the entire job from start to finish, so you don't have to worry. No big deal. A+ rated by the BBB. They can gut your bathroom, totally remodel it, or maybe you just need your bathroom repainted, whatever. They are absolutely there to help. Rob Very and STL Bath and Renovation, STLBR.com. That's STLBR.com.
Hey, this is Jim Avery, the most conservative Republican in the race for state Senate in northern Jefferson County. I'm a 3-time combat veteran. I'm going to fight for the unborn, defend the Second Amendment, and eliminate personal property tax. I want to invite you all to my campaign kickoff on August 14th at 6:30 p.m. at Notting Hills. Live music, great food, and a lot of fun. This is Jim Avery, and I'd love to see you all there. The event is free, but space is limited, so visit jimavery.com to RSVP today.
Paid for by Jim Avery for Senate. Jacqueline Rye Bold, Treasurer.
Hey, it's Vic Borselli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need to understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station.
This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Traveling in a fighter combi on a hippie trailhead full of zombies.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you, Ashland over there, and this is Common Sense Radio, people. You can have, well, finish up your second, move on to your third martini. This is one of those songs, too, I remember. Where you'd have the song, you'd listen to the song, but you really didn't know the words all the time, and I didn't even know, like, at one point, the Vegemite sandwich, but since you were like a little kid and you didn't really ever heard of a Vegemite sandwich, you didn't know what that was, like, you didn't know what he was saying. And I mean, and then the first line, at first I thought it was a fighter monkey. I don't know I didn't know like what he was saying, the fighter monkey. Kind of like when Michael Jackson was like, "The chair is not my son," Yeah, I thought that was a fighter monkey. I don't know. So anyway, so fun with music, everybody. All right. So I think you got to hear it from the horse's mouth. You all know that Democrats used to be the party of the union, the labor union. I don't know why, because the Democrats really never helped labor unions at all, and never actually did anything productive for labor unions, not even increasing wages or anything else. Some of the tactics maybe, but really unions, and that's why it was always part of my brand, if you want to call it that, part of what I did as a common sense conservative, is I tried to get Republicans and other conservatives to stop ripping on unions all the time, to stop ripping on labor unions all the time. The real enemy of the people would be public employee unions, teachers unions, and those kinds of people that drive up the costs of doing business, that have killed Illinois with the retirement plans and the pension funds and all that kind of stuff. Up in Wisconsin, when Scott Walker just dismantled the public employee union thing, was fantastic. But that wasn't, and I was really surprised to see labor unions joining with public employee unions to run defense for them when they had nothing in common with them. The whole idea of a public employee union is a bad one, because the public employees unions give money to the politicians that arrange their contracts. So that in itself is a bad move, because the taxpayer is not represented in the negotiations for these contracts, unless, of course, you pretend that the politician who gets money from the public employee unions is actually representing the taxpayer. Because what are you going to do? Bite the hand that is feeding you? No. So that's how we got, for instance, in Illinois, that's how we got these pension plans that are now totally untenable. Wisconsin was undergoing the same thing because all of these luxuries for these public employee unions, these things were blowing up because politicians were letting them because they were paid off by the public employee unions, and public employee unions kept on digging into the cookie jar because they were greedy. The labor union is a different story. The labor union is it's a deal where if the company doesn't want it, the company isn't going to give it. And so there has to be some negotiation between these two entities. You're seeing that play out with Boeing, everything else, which is why I had some issues with some of the issues regarding legislation that would have affected unions, including right to work, because my feeling was if it's good for a labor union and the company, then it should be okay without the government getting involved. So anyway, in order to see where the Democrats really screwed up, because they pretty much, I'm super surprised that a good group of minorities haven't already realized what a bunch of flim-flam men and women the Democratic Party really are. I think a lot of blacks in the 2024 election, black men particularly, did in fact discover the betrayal on the part of the Democrat Party, who wanted illegal aliens into the country as a bigger voting bloc and wound up destroying inner city communities more than anything else. Black people were the ones who suffered most because of illegal aliens. And they finally figured it out. They finally figured out that, there aren't any community banks anymore because of Democrats. There are no small businesses in our neighborhoods anymore because of Democrats and Republicans, for that matter. I'm not blaming Republicans for the demise of manufacturing in this country. But they finally realized that there was somebody, though, who was speaking their language in terms of bringing back the manufacturing base here and stopping the growth of what ultimately Democrats and Republicans sometimes want, and that is a feudal society of rich people and poor people, but no one in between. So Sean O'Brien is the Teamsters Union president, and he was on this podcast, and he said it was really super easy to see that Democrats totally abandoned the working
My
class.
thing is, I always look at it from a simple perspective. You're paying me to do something, or if you're electing me to do something, I work for you, okay? Where the Democrats lost, and I think you made a good point earlier, they fell in love with their captors. They fell in love with big money. They fell in love with big tech, and they forgot who they truly representing.
Yeah, and what's crazy is the Democrats still run this rap that they're the party of working families, which is the biggest crock of crap on the planet, provably untrue. And yet they still try to promote this idea because the working family is just a couple of words stuffed together for them to kind of use as word candy. We're the party of working families, working families, working families. It's like you wouldn't know a working family if it's crawled up your ass. And so Trump knows about working families, and working families know about working families.
They fell in love with big tech, and they forgot who they truly representing, working people. You know why? Because they're not in their communities, not in their neighborhoods. They're not talking to the people that they're paid to represent. And when you talk to people one-on-one, look, I can sit in my office all day, every day, and try and solve problems over the phone. And I'm not going to get a true testimony of what is actually going on.
Yeah. So where are the Democrats? Because they're not in neighborhoods. When Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden were running, they didn't go to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. They didn't go to Allentown, Pennsylvania. They went to Philadelphia. They didn't even go to Pittsburgh. It was too blue collar for them. So where are the Democrats? Well, they're in the streets, burning things. They're in Clayton, burning the cars of Jewish families. They're on the internet lying about people. They're getting pissed about white women going back into television commercials wearing jeans. They're getting crazed over anything related to patriotism or America. That's where the Democrats are. And so America finally realized, yeah, you're not in our neighborhoods. You're not for working families. You're okay with giving Medicaid to illegal aliens. And then when it's taken away, you say Republicans are taking Medicaid away without ever even mentioning that it's being taken away by people who are not entitled to it. So you're really bad for the country. And the real sad part is you're worse. You're 10 times worse than the Democrat Party during Obama. Mostly because you're crabby, you're hateful, you're burning things, you're lying about things and everything else. Obama was bad, and Democrats were bad when it came to policy like the green energy thing and that kind of thing. But Obama wasn't mean. And Democrats, you guys wanted Hillary Clinton, who is the number one top shelf witch in the country. She even hates you as a Democrat. She doesn't like anybody. And you wanted her to be president of the United States. Man, you guys are out of your minds. Like you choose the crabbiest, darkest people to be your leaders and your representatives and your spokespeople. It's really weird. Chuck Schumer? Really? Even Hakeem Jeffries. And then on top of that, you trot out all these black racists in the Democrat Party who do your bidding, and you don't even step in and say, hey, this probably isn't correct here. Man, I mean, it's unbelievable. You kick people out of soccer games. I mean, truly, truly awful. And again, I feel sorry for you, but I'm not really worried about it. But you guys know where your mistakes have been. That's just the way it is. Yeah, that was harsh. I know. I'm sorry. The truth hurts. But you know what? Guess what? It's my truth. That's my truth. I'm just saying. It's my truth. And I'm sticking to it.
Europe, you'll get down. You're never running from this town. And I think
You don't even laugh. You clap. Which is when you see comedians, which is why you love the comedians that aren't funny, but they're bitter. When you enjoy Stephen Colbert, the comedian, it's not laughter, it's clapter. On that note, have a nice rest of your day, okay? This is Common Sense Radio.
News, analysis, opinion.
They were looking for the intelligence community assessment.
I don't think statute of limitations are going to impact. That report is pretty damning.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Oh, Clayton Sleep. Hey, let me tell you something. Why do you think that when I come on the air here for the Allman Report on News Talk STL for the 3 Martini lunch, how do you think that I get to be top shelf, sharp as a tack, high intellect, high energy, and brilliance? How do you think I get that way? Because I have a decent type of sleep, ladies and gentlemen. And I have a decent type of sleep because Joe Ojal is my sleep guru, and he's my sleep doctor. And he knows when I'm screwing up as it relates to sleep, This was a long time ago when he was kind of training me. He was doing morning radio at the time, which is difficult sometimes because of your sleep schedule. It's weird. But I finally got into a pattern, which makes me completely and totally amazing by the time I get to you at noon here on News Talk STL. All kidding aside, the fact of the matter is sleep apnea, snoring is really a bad thing. And it's bad for everybody in the house. And it's really bad for you because this is a situation where you've got to really be knowledgeable about what sleep apnea is. During the night, you're stopping breathing. So at times, even I don't know how many times your loved one has said, I was sitting there and you were snoring and then suddenly you stopped breathing. It scared the heck out of me. That's the kind of thing that needs to be fixed because you're not really getting a good night's sleep. And by the time the afternoon rolls around, you're falling asleep at stoplights. It's just not the way to go. Restless leg syndrome, those do damage to you because it's waking you up. So your own body's waking you up. It's a hard way to live, let me tell you. And also insomnia, which is a bad thing too. I know I like to talk about the 3 martini lunch, kidding aside. Some people literally have to have 3 martinis just to get to sleep. That's not real sleep. That's not going to help you. Dr. Ojal will do it at his sleep clinics, or he'll give you take-home apparatus. The sleep clinics are like boutique hotels. He's also a rock star in pediatric sleep problems. So he can help you with that with your grandchildren or your children. Check it out. ClaytonSleep.com. That's ClaytonSleep.com.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best in each of us, made better by the best in all of us. Whatever success looks like to you, Stifel is invested in yours. That's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. So whether you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. When life changes, you need someone you can trust. That's Todd Sivia. At Sivia Law, they're dedicated to helping you through all of life's transitions, specializing in estate planning and elder law. With 7 convenient locations in the area, expert guidance is always close by. Call 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, or visit CiviaLaw.com. Don't forget, first 10 people that tell them Tim Jones sent me get a free $300 strategy session. Civia Law, helping you protect what matters most.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Gemini Wealth Group. And I got to tell you, when it comes to your retirement portfolio, again, I like to say this because it's the best way to communicate it to you. And you probably have heard me say it before, but I have good news and bad news. And the good news is after retirement, people are living 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. And the bad news is after retirement, people are living 20, 30, maybe 40 years. That's the problem because you got to make sure that your money is going to go far with you. And that takes a certain level of planning. And that planning is coming to you from my experts at the GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com, or you can call Jeff Portman directly at 314-888-0123, 314-888-0123. Common pitfalls in retirement planning, well, lack of diversity in your investments, nobody there to help you diversify your investments. You're not putting enough money in there. You're short-term thinking, not long-term thinking. You're not even considering tax liabilities or healthcare liabilities or even living expenses. So they can help you do that before retirement. If you're already retired and you're just kind of taking money out of your 401k gradually here and there, that's also not planning and will probably wind up hurting you down the line if you don't. Go ahead and get yourself a plan in writing or talk to somebody about it so they can walk you through it. And the Gemini Wealth Group will do just that for you. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, longtime proud supporters of free, common sense, conservative radio. Call Jeff Portman directly at 314-888-0123. The GeminiWealthGroup.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
So how close are we really to peace in Gaza? Don't hold your breath.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Let's drop. Yeah. Come on.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. And Fort Stewart, Georgia, the latest is the all clear has been issued there at Fort Georgia, or Fort Stewart, I'm sorry. And thankfully, we're not getting any reports of any deaths at this point. Thank God for that. 5 active duty soldiers have been shot. The severity of their injuries are not known at this time, and the shooter is in custody. That shooter is also active duty, but no sense of exactly what happened or whatever. There is a news conference scheduled for 2:30, and I'm sure a lot more information will come out of that. And the Tony Colombo Show can bring you up to date on that. I'm not trying to program the show. I'm just saying it can probably bring you up to date on what's going on. At the very least, the information can be downloaded fairly easily and conveyed to you that way. So, yeah. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Man, Tulsi Gabbard. I love her. You know, these people, as I said, you know, it's this whole cabinet is stuffed with duplicate cat women. I mean, just down the line between Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem and Linda McMahon and Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know. Am I forgetting somebody? Then you've got like mini cat women like young Caroline, the spokesperson. Melania, the wife. I'm glad What's-Her-Nuts isn't around anymore, kind of tell you the truth. She and her husband, something wasn't right about them. He seemed kind of shifty to me. And she was okay, but they're just back raising their family and everything else, which I think is probably good for the country. Forgot her name. Ivana? Yes, everybody. So Tulsi Gabbard is on the villain James Clapper's trail. And what's great about this is the Catwoman comparison really works because Clapper and Brennan and Comey, if you put them into like a Batman episode, they would actually be villains. They're villain-like. Like Clapper's like a villain. He's like the Penguin, you know. Brennan's the Joker, maybe. And then Comey's like the smooth talking, whatever kind of villain. We'd have to kind of invent him. Maybe Cesar Romero, that character. Who was he? Which one was Cesar Romero? Not the Joker, not the Penguin. I love the Penguin too. That was one of my favorites because Burgess Meredith. He was such a golly. These were great, like really amazing Broadway actors, and that was in the day when these Broadway actors like Frank Gorshin, Cesar Romero, Lee Merriweather. These were all people who were like really well-known, accomplished stage actors and actresses, and they found out a way to make like really super easy money. So they got casted as in Batman and other shows like that. And the TV money was like great. It's like Bewitched. You know, what's her name? Not Tallulah Bankhead. It was the other woman who played her mother, who I loved, Mrs. Green Eyeshadow. Can't believe I forgot her name already. Phyllis. She had green eyeshadow, and she was really funny. But Agnes Moorehead. Okay, so Agnes Moorehead was like this really amazing stage actress who like made a ton of money on Bewitched. So I really love that whole idea. Anyway, these are great people. But anyway, I loved Burgess Meredith, the Penguin. His umbrella like squirted out gas that would make people faint. Great idea. These people were all on drugs who wrote Batman episodes. Anyway, here we go. Tulsi is chasing after the evil villain, James Clapper.
Was on the team that created, that manufactured intelligence assessment that led to the Iraq War.
Wow. So she says he's not only evil and wicked as it relates to the Russia hoax scandal, his wickedness goes back years because he was the guy who helped manufacture the weapons of mass destruction lie.
Assessment that led to the Iraq War, about the Iraq WMDs. He writes about it in his book, saying that he and his team of intelligence analysts created something that was not there.
Karen, who's that girl talking about me? Get her.
When you look at his actions then, and you look at his actions in 2016 as Obama's director of national intelligence, you see someone who has no problem whatsoever politicizing and manufacturing and weaponizing intelligence for a political outcome.
Yeah. Get him, Tulsi. Yeah. James Clapper. I'm surprised. Here's what he's going to do in this scenario. He's going to order his minions, his flying monkeys, to go out and kidnap Tulsi Gabbard and bring her to his castle. And there, tied up to a chair. Oh, so, pretty girl, you came up with new information about me, did you? And then ultimately she escapes. Clapper winds up going to prison. He's handcuffed like the villain in a Scooby-Doo feature. Except this time Clapper isn't masked. He's unmasked. He is who he is. And he is led off to jail. Just like the end of Scooby-Doo.
You tell me off so I can turn off the lights.
And that should happen. And shake, shake, shake is what he's going to have to do. So here's the deal. Clapper, Brennan, Comey. As I told Rick, I talked to Rick Pogue about this, and I can't say this enough. Don't bother me with all of the pearl clutchy. Well, I don't know. This might not actually, we ought to be able to charge them. We don't know. I say, let's go through the motions of humiliating them, dragging them through. Let's commit acts of lawfare. I don't care whether or not they eventually go to jail. I'd love them to. But even if they don't, I want the satisfaction of putting them in their place after all they tried to do to Daddy. And enough is enough. Teach them a lesson. Let's make them go back like I think we used to do, right? With dogs. You take a crap on the kitchen floor. The best way to tell the dog not to take the crap on the kitchen floor anymore is to take the dog's nose over to it and press the dog's nose into the crap, and they never do it again. I don't know whether now modern day that might be cruel or whatever, but we could still do it to Hillary and those guys. Let's march them back to the poop they took in our American kitchen and shove their noses in it and teach them a lesson once and for all. People have a good one.
Attention St. Charles, looking for a local spot that satisfies all your cravings? Mario's Donut Restaurant is your place to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From mouth-watering sandwiches and omelets to delicious gyros, Mexican dishes, salads, and wraps.